Hey everybody, welcome back to my travel vlog. Today we are going to be talking about Luxor, Egypt.
So we are going to the Valley of the Kings.
Welcome back everybody. Let's just jump right into it because that is why you clicked. Y'all, I was supposed to be in Egypt this month. From last month, actually, I was supposed to be in Egypt, but COVID happened, so I couldn't go. I had a 6-week excursion in Egypt planned for Nick Trip. So if you don't know, I have a tag-along project where persons who don't want to travel the world by themselves can join me on these awesome trips around the world. My Egyptian team and I had put together a schedule of group tours. We were supposed to start off in Cairo, go to Aswan, go to Luxor, and then end in the Sudan. And COVID happened, and so it got canceled. And I was like, I could do a video on it. I could do a video on Luxor, and I'm gonna do a video on Aswan. And so that's that. As you know, I've been to Egypt before, and it is one of my favorite places on the planet. Egypt is like, it's just so awesome, guys. I just love that country. I love visiting that country. But when I went to Egypt the first time, I only visited Cairo. So on my second trip, I went down to the southern part of Egypt, which was Luxor and Aswan. Well, if you go to Luxor, you have to go to Aswan because it's right there. It only makes sense, right? So I was down in Egypt and I was doing a lot of scouting. So meeting a lot of tour guides. This is pre-COVID. So got down to Luxor, and the first order of the day is definitely the Valley of the Kings. If you have ever watched a documentary on Egypt, you know they talk about two places. They talk about the pyramids and they talk about the Valley of the Kings. This is like the burial ground for all of these great kings of Egypt. So one of the little historical tidbits about the Valley of the Kings is that after the pyramid era, the nobility and royalty started being buried in tombs in the valley. From what I understand, it was better for them to be buried there because they were less of a target. Right? Because if you have like this big pyramid, people are gonna be like, okay, that's where the goal is. That's what the goal is there, right? And so when you think about some of the kings having over 100 kids, so these prince and princesses, that's not the nobility yet. That's just the royal family of one king. You know, so when you think about it on that level, how many people are buried there? There's a lot, but they've only discovered 64 so far. Excavations always going on there. So you pay for your ticket. With your ticket, you're allowed to see 3 tombs. The hieroglyphics that are on the wall are just so breathtaking. And to think that persons were able to do that back then with such limited resources, such limited tools, it's just amazing. It's so beautiful, but you're not allowed to take photos unless you pay. And listen, they have people that are in there, and those people are not letting you take any photos unless you have the pass to do it. They just freak out. They carry on like bouncers at a club up in there. You have to pay to be able to take photos in the tombs. King Tut is also buried there. His mummy is on display. His tomb is just, oh my goodness, the artwork in there, the hieroglyphs, it's just so nice. And the blues and just the painting, it's just so nice, and it's so well preserved. But no pictures unless you pay. And of course, you know, I didn't pay for that. Mental pictures. And you never know, there could be a Nick trip to Egypt after all, conditions permitting, next year. So maybe you'll get to see it yourself. So you go throughout the tombs. If you want to see an extra 3 tombs, then you have to pay an extra fee, of course. And then our last stop was at Hatshepsut's Temple. That was like the attraction for me. And so we go there and it is just wow. This place is just wow. It's good to go to Cairo, but you've got to go to the south. You've got to see. I think Luxor has the most temples, the most artifacts in all of Egypt. So that was our visit to the Valley of the Kings. So once we were done there, we got on a ferry and we headed back to the East Bank and we went to the Luxor Temple. And that area, those temples are where they would have different parades and things like that when it was time to go and worship. And so you have like the Isle of the Sphinx and they're like lined up, and it's just more history, and it's interesting history. Somebody engraved their name on one of the pillars and it's like 1910, like John Doe 1910. And you're like, what? As disappointing as it is to see something like that, because you know, you're defacing something that's priceless. But at the same time, you're like 1910? Whoa, that's like 100 years ago. You know, so that was disappointing and amazing at the same time. Let me tell you, if you are a history buff, you have to go down there. You do. It is a must. And so yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's travel vlog. If you have not subscribed to this new YouTube channel that I have, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell to make sure that you get notifications every time I upload a video. And I will see you all next week. Bye. And then we went to Hatshepsut's. Am I saying that right? Hatshepsut. We went to Hatshepsut's